What you're looking at right now, well, it isn't something from a sci-fi movie. It's a Demodex mite. It's a tiny little arachnid, so a cousin to spiders. And there's a pretty good chance that one of these guys is nestled head down in one of your hair follicles as we speak. Maybe even on your eyelashes. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else is living on you right now?
In this explainer, we're diving deep into the huge, invisible ecosystem that lives on and inside every single one of us. It's called the human microbiome, and it is a world that is absolutely teeming with life, a world you've been carrying around since the day you were born.
All right, let's get into it. First things first, what exactly is this hidden world? And just how big are we talking? Well, here's a mind-bending thought. Your body isn't just you. It's more like a bustling city, a massive community. The microbiome is basically the sum of all the genes of all the tiny organisms that are coexisting with you. It kind of blurs the line between where they end and you begin. You are, quite literally, a walking ecosystem.
And when we say community, we mean a massive one. We're talking trillions of these little microbial cells. Thousands upon thousands of different species. Bacteria, fungi, viruses have set up shop on pretty much every surface of your body, from the inside of your gut to the crook of your elbow.
Okay, to really get a handle on this, let's zoom in on one of the most familiar, yet most ignored, habitats on our entire body, the belly button.
So a few years back, this awesome citizen science project, called Belly Button Biodiversity, by the way, decided to just see what was going on in there. They took regular cotton swabs, sampled the navels of just 60 people, and then they analyzed the DNA of everything they found.
And what they found was just staggering. Get this, in only 60 belly buttons, they discovered 2,368 unique types of bacteria. Scientists call them phylotypes. A whole bunch of them were completely new to science, unknown species just kind of hanging out in our navels.
Now, to put that number into perspective, check this out. Those 60 belly buttons had more than double the number of species of all the birds in North America. More than double the species of all the ants. That's an incredible amount of biodiversity thriving in a place most of us barely even think about.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Even with all that diversity, the communities weren't just random. The huge majority of those bacterial types were actually pretty rare, only found in a handful of people. It turns out just 8 common types of bacteria, which the scientists nicknamed the oligarchs, made up almost half of the entire bacterial population. It kind of suggests that our bodies are maybe selecting for specific microbes that are really good at living with us.
And this really shows you just how personal these ecosystems can be. The study actually found archaea on human skin for the first time. I mean, these are microbes that are famous for living in extreme places, like underwater volcanoes. And unbelievably, 2 of these types were found on one volunteer who, well, let's just say they admitted to having a very undisturbed habitat. Okay, so all this talk of huge numbers brings us to a really important point. We need to correct the record on a myth I am almost positive you have heard before, that we are more microbe than human. For decades, we've all been told that our microbial cells outnumber our own cells 10 to 1. It was this amazing factoid, right? But it turns out it was based on a super rough, back-of-the-napkin guess from way back in the 70s, and newer, more detailed analysis has pretty much debunked it. The most up-to-date estimates bring those numbers way closer together. For a so-called reference man, the count is around 38 trillion bacterial cells and 30 trillion human cells. So while we aren't outnumbered 10 to 1, we are still, just about half of our own cellular story.
So where are all of our cells coming from? Well, if you look at it by just the sheer number of cells, our bodies are overwhelmingly dominated by red blood cells. They make up a whopping 84% of our total cell count. Why? Because they're absolutely tiny and there's a ton of them.
But if we flip it and look at our body by mass, by weight, the picture changes completely. Those tiny little red blood cells barely even make a dent. Most of our cellular weight actually comes from our huge muscle and fat cells. They're giants compared to red blood cells, but there are way, way fewer of them.
So, after all that, here's the kicker. What's the total weight of all 38 trillion of those bacteria living in your body? It's only about 0.2 kilograms. That's less than half a pound. A truly staggering number of organisms that barely even tips the scale. So if they don't weigh much and they only just outnumber us, why do they even matter? Well, it turns out our health is completely and totally dependent on these tiny little caretakers.
See, they're not just passive passengers. They're working for us. Our microbes act like a whole other organ we didn't know we had.
They produce essential vitamins our bodies can't make. They help break down our food into nutrients we can actually use. They even help train our immune system from birth, teaching it who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. And they're like tiny bouncers, creating a barrier that stops dangerous germs from moving in.
This whole partnership is so specific and so unique to each of us that we all have our own personal microbial signature. It's like a living fingerprint. And the crazy part is, it's a fingerprint that you can actually change.
Check out this wild experiment. Scientists took microbes from the armpit of someone who didn't have much body odor and basically transplanted them to a close relative who did. And the result? A trained odor panel. And yes, that is a real job. Confirmed that the previously smelly relative now smelled much, much better. They literally changed how someone smelled just by swapping out their bacteria.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Your microbiome isn't just along for the ride. It's an active, powerful partner in your life. It shapes everything from how you digest your food, to how strong your immune system is, to even the way you smell. It's a fundamental, living part of what makes you, you.
And that leaves us with one last fascinating thought. As scientists get better and better at understanding and even changing these microbial communities, the possibilities are just endless. So I'll leave you with this question. If you could redesign your own